Hi, my name's Danielle Drew, and I've spent the last 20 odd years working in pretty male dominated industries like the martial arts sector. And for the first 7 years of being in business, I was the invisible woman. I was smart and good at my job, but I really suffered terribly from imposter syndrome. And I was always second guessing myself and my value in the organisation. To top it off, I was terrified of public speaking and I absolutely hated talking in front of people. My face would go bright red and I would just gasp for air, and my voice became this strange, high-pitched squeak. So I really struggled to express any ideas or get any recognition. Now, since then, I've invested well over $300,000 and counting in training, coaching, and learning to help myself be able to present with confidence. And I've been teaching those skills around the globe for the last 15 to 20 years. Now, I'm sharing with you what worked for me so that you can have all of the lessons without the time and the money that it took me to acquire them. And I'm doing this because I know what it's like. I understand how it feels to be a woman in business and to feel silenced. So let's jump in. Now, I have found that there are 10 steps to speaking so you are both heard and remembered as a woman in business. Now, step number 1 is powerful body language. Now, if you haven't seen it already, you can check that step out in another video on my channel. And those will give you 3 areas that you can target for immediate increases in your credibility in the workplace. But today is all about step number 2, and it's called presenting solutions. Now, why is this important? Well, in my experience, there are 3 things that significantly reduce your visibility and your credibility in the workplace. Things that render you both overlooked and invisible. And you might be doing some or even all of these things right now without even being aware of it, or at least aware of the impact that doing those things can create. So first up is being problem focused, and that means spending a lot of time worrying and talking about problems in the business, but no real energy visibly invested in solving those problems. I like to think of it as moaning and whinging without fixing. Number 2 is being reactive, not noticing issues or not dealing with issues when they're small and waiting for them to snowball before you take action. In other words, being reactive, not proactive about handling them. Now, I learnt this lesson when I was working in the retail sector as the personnel director for a very large department store. I was 26. It was my first time ever being involved in a unionised business. And the union rep at the store at that time was quite, let's say, militant and very reactive about any perceived slight or insult for one of his members. And as soon as he felt like there was a problem, he would kick it upstairs straight to the regional union delegate. And he did that with what I felt was a fair bit of creativity about the retelling of the issue. So this was a real challenge for me because I'd never encountered it before. And it took me a lot of different approaches before I finally figured out that the best way to handle that situation was, as soon as I identified a problem, I kicked it up to the regional rep. And I would contact that person myself as quickly as possible. And I would say, hey, listen, I want you to understand or to hear this from me straight away so that you're not ambushed by this without having any preparation time. Then I would say to him what had happened and what my response was, and we would talk about why I had responded in that particular way. Now, sometimes he agreed. Yep, that's great. Happy for that resolution, and things would go on nicely. Sometimes he agreed with part of what I did. Sometimes he flat out disagreed. But the point was that relationship of trust that I built was a powerful resource because he knew that I was somebody who was solutions oriented and would actually help him and make his job and my job a lot easier. And that proactivity made our lives so much better. And it meant that we didn't have a problem with 1,700 staff walking off the job, having a strike over issues. So it's a well worth cultivating resource. So I encourage you to look for problems, and after you've found them, handle them before they snowball. Now, the third element of invisibility is the blame game. And what I mean by this is wasting time identifying who or what is to blame and delving into that rather than looking for a solution or a way forward around that problem. Unfortunately, this is a common stereotype for women in business, gossiping and talking about who is at fault. And this makes us appear less trustworthy, more emotional, and less reliable than people who do not engage in those behaviours. So to avoid all three of these visibility dangers, simply be solutions oriented. Instead of worrying about the problem, put your energy into understanding the problem. Just a slight different focus of language there, right? Talk to the people who are impacted and involved. Ask questions and really listen to the answers. Try to understand the underlying issues too, not just the symptoms. And then when you think you've understood it, restate those issues in different ways so that you know that you can really articulate what the problem is. Now, after you can clearly state the problem, then it's time to use your energy to come up with a solution that addresses the issue. Now, the thing is, it doesn't matter so much what that solution is, as much as the actions you take to find the solution. Because that seeking of a solution is what creates visibility and relevance in business. So use resources like your own experiences or your expert coach or your community, and tools like ChatGPT, for example, to give you the framework to come up with a solution for that problem. And once you have that potential solution, the next step is to evaluate the solution. You need to know what are the unique benefits your solution offers and how does it improve the current situation. Now, you must be very clear on what those benefits are, because that clarity converts into confidence when you're presenting the solution, and confidence creates greater recognition and more respect in the workplace. So that's step 2. Instead of focusing on the problem or letting a small issue snowball or getting stuck on who's to blame, change your approach and channel all of your energy into creating solutions. And even if you don't present your solution every time, what you're doing is training yourself and everyone around you to understand that you're solutions oriented and therefore more valuable and ultimately more visible. So that's step 2. Step 3 is in my next video. And if you want personalized tools in how to be seen, heard, and recognized in business, please check out my She Means Business community on the link below. See you next time. Bye for now.